What's up, YouTube? Pink Reaper here, back with more Pokemon Silver. So, I wasn't actually going to show this part. I was actually just going to speed through the Elite Four like a couple times and just grind up so that I could, you know, finish off the series. I could go Battle Red and just sort of be done. But after the last part, after all the, you know, the just ridiculous amount of talk about EA, I just kind of wanted to, like, make another part real quick and sort of touch on a little bit more of, like, what was going on in the last part. Specifically, I want to talk about loot boxes, because obviously this has been a big thing in the gaming community, you know, for the last couple months and stuff like that, and there's been all kinds of controversies over what they are and how they affect the gaming space and stuff like that. And I think, like, there's a lot of people who, like, look at loot boxes and don't really understand what they are. There's the talk of, you know, is it gambling? Like, are loot boxes gambling? Do they constitute gambling? And the answer to that, honestly, should be yes. What is going on with my sound? It's not my sound, it's my... No, it is my sound. Hello? Was that my headphones? Did I just lose... What just happened? Oh, that's gonna be weird. Ignore my cursor. Hello, Nidoking. I scratch your back. Okay. Anyway. Ignore that, guys. But yeah, so... I'll get into that in a bit, but... so for those who have never played a game with a loot box, what a loot box is, essentially, is... it's a crate, it's a box, it's a whatever. They've actually existed for a while now. The first instance I remember of them was back in the Valve games, you know, with Counter-Strike and Team Fortress 2. But they only really became more popular recently with games like Call of Duty, Overwatch, a lot of the first-person shooters, but now they're obviously Star Wars Battlefront, but now they're showing up in a lot of games like Assassin's Creed and Shadows of War and stuff like that, like all kinds of games. So the long and the short of it is, a loot box is an item, is a crate, it's a box that you open and you get a randomized item for it. There were the super degenerate versions of that in the old days, where you would get a locked box and you could only open it with a key that you had to buy. But we've sort of moved on from there. But even with that, like, it would still be a random item that you get out of it, right? And now, generally, you don't have to buy anything to open them, but you usually need to do something to get them. So, like, sometimes they're tied to you leveling up. Sometimes they're tied to specific things in game. Sometimes they're random. Oh, he's gonna fucking heal. Yeah, there it is. Like, sometimes it's completely random whether or not you get one. Like, you just have to keep doing certain things, like certain quests or something like that over and over again. But, generally, like, it's pretty grindy how you get them. And then you open them, and what you get out of them is random. Of course, because companies are, you know, oh, that's a crit. That's, I'm dead. Yep. Fuck. Because these companies are quite magnanimous, they'll totally let you just buy them with real money. So that you can try and get, you know, those super rare drops and stuff like that. And the unique items that they carry that you couldn't get anywhere else. This is where the problem comes in. So, the way that loot boxes work is incredibly degenerate to gamers. So what used to be like you would okay, so actually I don't want to use this analogy. I want to use a different analogy. I was thinking of one, but I prefer this one. So imagine in MMOs, you would go through an instance, you would fight a boss, you would beat the boss, and then that boss has a 2% chance of dropping this specific rare mythic item that you really want. And that's your only way of getting it, right? Now that kind of sucks because you have to grind that boss over and over and over again for a chance to get it. But, you know, like in MMOs, there's generally other ways you can get it as well. Like you can, there's auction houses and stuff like that. Stay away from the auction house. But there's things like that. There, you know, they can be traded, they can be moved, they can be sold, things like that. What this has done has taken that and made it 100 times worse. So now instead of grinding out the boss to try and get this specific item, while also and also being able to trade it, instead what happens now is you grind out the boss to get experience. The experience levels up, and eventually when you level up, you get a loot box. You open the loot box, and you hope the loot box has the item in it. So what that means is now they've actually vastly decreased your chances of getting an item. If an item has a 2% chance to drop in a loot box, but you have to grind that boss, I don't know, 40 times just to get one loot box, that means your chance of getting that item like has decreased from 2% per boss fight to something like 0.0018% per boss fight. Because again, every boss fight isn't going to give you a loot box. Every boss fight is just going to give you experience that you earn towards getting a loot box. And a bunch of lawyers for these companies have used the excuse that, oh, it's not gambling because it's the same as like when you open a booster pack from a trading card game. You know, what you get in there is random. But it's not gambling because you're guaranteed to get, you know, X number of items or whatever from it. But that's fucking bullshit. And you know that's fucking bullshit because trading cards can be traded. When it comes to, like, loot box items, in-games items, and stuff like that, in a lot of these games, those items can't be traded. Shit! Shadow of War is a one-player game. There's no trading there, and there's a lot of that in one-player games now, too. The thing about trading cards and booster packs is you have some amount of equity to it, and I don't want to get into, like, oh my fucking god, Umbreon, I swear to god I will murder you. Oh my god, really? We're doing this? No, we're not doing this. You know what? Fuck off, Umbreon. Jesus. Anyways, what I was trying to say is you get equity. That is something that has value that can be moved. And even in like old MMOs, that was the same thing. Items you get have equity. They can be exchanged for gold or they can be exchanged for other items. In games now, that's not true. Like, you don't get anything. Like, you can't trade. I don't know if in, like, for instance, there's a marketplace in, what's it called? Destiny, well, now Destiny 2. For items like that, I'm assuming there is because that's an MMO. But, like, for instance, in what do you call it? In, Call of Duty, in Battlefront 2, in, fucking Assassin's Creed. Like, there's no marketplace. You just sort of have to hope. Okay, thanks, Gengar. You're dead now. Like, there's nothing there. And to that end, attempting to get items is essentially gambling. You're paying with your time to pull a lever. And to make it worse, obviously, some of these companies have, I mean, every one of these companies has decided, well, hey, if you don't want to pay with your time, you can pay with real money. You can pay with real money to gamble for these items that you can't do anything with. Other than use for yourself. That is 100% gambling. And the problem is, this has taken the place of true DLC in a lot of ways. The absolute worst of it was and still is Activision's Call of Duty franchises when they introduced the loot crates in it. It used to be, and I know I brought this up in the last video, it used to be that you would, do I want to use Lapras? No, I want to use Nidoking and get double money. It used to be, in games, like, if there was a DLC gun or something like that, you could, you know, or new DLC skins. Let's go with that instead. If there were new DLC skins in Call of Duty for weapons and stuff like that, you would just buy them. You would buy them as a skin pack. Usually pretty cheap. It's like $3, I think. Which is fine. That is exactly how I feel DLC should be. It should be cheap. It should be an easy, like, do I want it? Do I not? Yeah, I'll buy it. $3. And it's not something that's going to massively impact the gaming, you know, the gaming experience. It's just going to be, you know, something that you think looks cool, so you want it. Instead, they changed it to loot boxes. So now, if you want to have this new DLC gun, the only way to get it is out of loot crates. And the only good way to get it, you know, quickly, or if you want to use it ever, if you want to have a chance to actually get it, you have to spend money. Like, you're never going to be able to get it otherwise. Like, this isn't even like gacha game levels of bullshit. You know, Fire Emblem Heroes, where, you know, they introduce new characters, and again, your only hope getting them really is to buy orbs. But they, like, load you up on orbs in Fire Emblem Heroes. They're generally giving you about 80 to 90 per month. And at, you know, the absolute worst odds, you know, pulling five orbs per color trying to get a specific character, you still have pretty good odds of getting a character because you start at 5%, the percent goes up. You have, you know, somewhere in the realm of like 18, 19 pulls. You should, in theory, be able to get the character. Maybe you won't, which sucks, obviously, if it doesn't happen, but the odds are in your favor. And this is a game that's free, mind you. And they give you those orbs for free, and, like, you can buy them, like, again, it has to make its money somehow. It uses this sort of, like, gacha-style thing to make its money. With Call of Duty and all these other games, they're releasing games annually, like, every year. And they're still like, no, if you want any of these things, you still, after spending $60 on the game, you pretty much are going to just have to spend money. Like, that's your best chance. Because they are very stingy with their loot boxes and their loot crates and their locked boxes and stuff like that, with how many you get. Someone pointed to Overwatch as the way to do it, but I disagree with that as well, because on the one hand, I get that, like, Overwatch, again, that's a game that released and has not done anything else to try and earn money beyond that. This is how they're going to try and make money. But it's still pretty scummy to me that they release, like, they treat their skins as a pay-to-win sort of thing. Like, the end game of that game is always trying to get these new skins, these new emotes and stuff like that for the characters you like, right? And they like to they've introduced seasonal skins, new skins, and stuff like that. But you can only get them from loot boxes. You can't buy them. Like, think about that for a second. That is essentially the same thing as what, you know, Call of Duty, what everyone else is doing, EA. It's like, well, we know you love these characters and we know you want these cool-ass new skins we've made for them, but we're not going to make them, like, actually normally available. Instead, what we're going to do is give you the option to buy a bunch of loot boxes and, like, hope you get him. Oh, fuck. Really, Dragonite? We're doing this? Man, you're weak as... Oh, my God! I'm so fucking over this game, dude. You don't even know. I am so over this bullshit. I'm gonna get paralyzed right here anyway. He's gonna either T-Wave me again because the computer acts after I do this, or he's gonna paralyze me with thunder. Or he's gonna crit me. Okay. Okay. I'm done. And before he used Surf. Okay, good. I should be faster? Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so like I don't think Overwatch is the right way to do it. The right way to do it would be to introduce those skins into the loot boxes, but also make them available to just buy. Because maybe some people don't want to grind fucking forever to try and get that. And those people who don't want to grind fucking forever for it, you're telling them, no, spend a ton of money on our loot boxes then and try and get them that way. Like, that's really fucking shitty. And I don't care how much everyone fucking loves Overwatch or how much everyone fucking loves Blizzard. Fuck off. That's really shitty. That's not the way to do it. Oh, I don't know why I thought that said Dragonair. Well, it's going to use Thunder, and I have to hope it gets a really low roll. Or it's going to use Thunder Wave and paralyze me, so it doesn't even have to worry about it. Oh my god! Come on! This is so annoying. I hate this guy so much. Why does all of your fucking Pokemon know... Oh, thank god. This will almost kill me, but it won't. Never mind, it doesn't even almost kill me. Jesus, you're bad. Fuck off, Dragonite. But yeah, like, I remember when the worst DLC practices a little while back were the amiibos, where it was like, if you want to get unique outfits and stuff like that, you had to buy these $12 figures, but I didn't feel super bad about that, because one, I didn't really care about any of it, and two, the figures are cool as shit, so, like, I like them. The ones I wanted, I just bought, and I just kept them. The worst of it was probably the, this is probably going to kill me. He's going to Rock Slide, yeah. This may kill me. Didn't. Cool. The worst of them was the Splatoon ones, where, like, there were unique armor sets that you couldn't get without the amiibo. And again, because the clothes in that game give you specific perks and stuff like that, even though, like, they weren't any better than anything else, that's still kind of shitty. I'm just going right to fucking Nidoking and hoping I'm faster. But beyond that, there wasn't a lot of content you missed out on by not buying these. And again, the worst of it was really that, like, there wasn't enough of them. It wasn't that, like, you know, you had to keep buying them over and over and over again in hopes of getting what you want. It was just like, hey, they're gonna kill me, yeah. It didn't kill me! It was so bad. It was just like, hey, you had to spend kind of a lot of money on it. But, again, they were, at least when they were available, and Nintendo got better about it as the amiibo craze kind of slowed down. Honestly, I should make a I should make a video about that, about everyone being like thinking that Nintendo purposefully holds their shit back to make them more rare. Nintendo, like, has always had this air quotes problem, but in truth, what it is that they for a long time they've operated on an incredibly conservative mindset for how to release stuff. Like, going back to the 80s, due to the market crash that they, you know, essentially they came in right after. Overproduction of consoles, not enough sales, overproduction of video games flooding the markets and stuff like that. Like they saw that and they went straight counter with that mindset and started being super conservative on all of their like their consoles, their everything they produced. They produced smaller numbers of them so that they would essentially always turn a profit. It does obviously hurt their bottom line to some degree, because obviously if they had produced more and everything was selling out, they would have made more money. But it's sort of like a guaranteed sales versus future sales kind of thing. I'm not going to get too much into that. I'd like to focus more again on the topic that I was talking about to begin with, which is the loot crates. So yeah, I don't think there's a right way to do loot crates or loot boxes. Like, randomized item drops in and of its own are kind of annoying. They make games, you know, hella grindy and stuff like that. But that's sort of like an RPG, more so an MMO thing, but it's also in most RPGs. Like, that's sort of like an RPG thing where it's, you know, you want to keep your players interested for a long time. You want to keep your players, you want to get as much time out of your players as you can. You want the people who play your games to play them for as long as you can. And if the game is fun enough, the grind isn't particularly terrible. I'm trying to think offhand of Salmon Run in Splatoon 2. Salmon Run's super fun. And in theory, all it really is a grind. It's a grind to get your, you know, all of the items, the money, the equipment and stuff like that, and the super bonuses. But, it doesn't really matter, because what you're doing is super fucking fun. You're just going to keep doing it over and over and over again. Like, I could do it, you know, for hours at a time. I don't care. At no point will I feel like, oh shit, this is such grindy, boring bullshit. What I will feel like occasionally is, man, this is hard as hell. I don't know why I'm still doing this to myself. But you get the idea, right? So, and keep in mind, like, the drops in Splatoon are random too. If you get money, if you get equipment, if you get tickets and things like that, like, that's all random. But it's fine because, again, the game's fun. What would be less fine is if, say, the only way to get equipment was to do that, and the equipment you could only get out of your super bonuses, and what you got out of those super bonuses was completely random. Maybe you get a piece of equipment, maybe you get money. Who knows? That would effectively turn the game into gambling, in my opinion. Well, not that, actually. What would turn the game into gambling is if they were like, oh, also, by the way, you could just buy the super bonuses, you know. It's $4, it gets you 3 super bonuses, you can just pull them, or you can spend more. You could spend $100 and get, like, 250 super bonuses. Wouldn't that be great? You could probably get every equipment you want, except maybe you probably would, maybe you wouldn't. Who knows? It's a gamble. But yeah, that's sort of my take on loot boxes and things like that. People have been making videos about this. People with significantly a huger audience than mine. But I've just, like, had this thought and I've been wanting to talk about it, so I did. I don't feel like there's a good solution to loot boxes other than just fucking getting rid of them. They make everything worse. They're detrimental to online and single-player gaming entirely. There's no positive to loot boxes whatsoever. Like, literally none. I can't think of a single nice thing to say about loot boxes. They are exploitive. They're created in such a way that sort of, like, preys on the gambling mentality, and especially on the young. Like, kids really love opening presents and things like that, and it's really sort of made to, oh, I never set my daylight savings time. I forgot about that. It's really made to, like, again, like I said, it's really made to prey on that sort of mentality, that sort of, like, ooh, what am I gonna get? Which, it's fucking awful. Like, everything about it is the worst. They need to go, and I'm hoping that over the next year or so they'll be gone. The negative backlash against it is, you know, absolutely massive. On the plus side, I basically don't play any games that use those. I'm gonna be honest, it's sort of what's kept me strictly to Nintendo's Switch as opposed to picking up a PS4, which I've been considering for a while. Nintendo might not have the best DLC practices. Again, like, amiibos are expensive as hell. And some of their shit is like overpriced, let's be honest here. But at the very least, at no point do I feel like I'm going to spend money and literally get nothing out of it. And that's what it... Oh, excuse me. That's what it feels like with loot boxes and loot crates. Is you could literally spend money and get nothing. Like, that's what it is. It is gambling. Unquestionably. That's really all there is to it. Luckily, there is the Hawaii State... I don't remember if he was a representative, a senator, or like a like attorney general, but he's one of the, you know, he's one of the people who can bring this up. He is he's moving to sort of tackle loot crates and loot boxes and gaming and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll see the end of it soon. I don't know. If it does, I might be more interested in picking up some of these games that I would never touch otherwise. I'd probably still avoid everything EA, but because EA is just shitty. They are a publisher, obviously not a developer, but so, like, I'd have loved to save Respawn Entertainment because I actually really enjoyed Titanfall 1, even though it was kind of not great. And Titanfall 2 was just such a good game and so well crafted, and it fixed everything that was wrong with Titanfall 1, but EA just decided, no, we're going to put it in the worst launch window ever, while also, like, making sales projections impossible. That way when it inevitably fails, well, we get to keep the rights to it, we get to shutter your company, and then we can do whatever we want with it later. We don't care what you guys want to do with it. Oh, I can make an entire video on that, too. EA just fucking cannibalizing studios, but that'll be for another time. Until then, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Pink Reaper, signing out.